Okay, so yeah, in our previous class, we're covering some things, and we're going to continue from there in this class. I'm going to cover how we can manually input some things in our database now that we have been able to create a database or be able to create our table. Want to manually input things in our table, and we'll cover some things like how we edit, drop, how we do some interesting things. So I will just let's start the class, and what I'm going to do now is that in our previous class, we write our query through our query tool, which is this interface that's here. I think we're aware of that. We're writing our SQL queries, the create database, the drop database, or the create table. Remember, we wrote it through our query tool. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, because you can see, all you can see is an empty query tool right now. And you can see, I think you can, I remember showing, telling us that of how like to know what database your query tool might be connected to. And mine is connected to Push'em. So what's going to happen is I saved my file. I saved the queries that I wrote previously. So it saves as a .sql file. You know, when you are working with Excel and you save an Excel file, it saves as .xlsx, except that's the default one, except you specify, oh, you want to save it as a CSV, or you want to save it as something else, or even PDF, depending. So I saved it as a .sql file. So what I'm going to show us now is how I'm going to open that file that I saved. So you can see something looking like a folder. What you can see there is open file. And this is where you would save whatever you write. So if I just type maybe create database, I'm not going to run it. So let me make it a comments. See, I type create database and I say comments. Although I'm not going to run this because it's a comments. And you click on here. So when you click on there, it opens up your file directory. And now okay, you're probably not seeing this. Give me a second. Let me change the way I share my screen just for a second. Yes. So this is why I changed the way I share my screen because I wanted to see this interface that pops up. So you will now be able to choose where you save your work. And you can see this is where you write the file name. And you can see SQL file .sql. There's an SQL file. It has .sql at the end of the naming convention. That's how you use an Excel file. So you save it wherever on your system. But that's not what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring what I have saved. So I'm going to click on, so let me just make this empty. I'm going to click on open file. And I'm going to look for where the file is on my system. I think the file is beginners. So yes, I have been able to open up the previous thing we did. So I'm going to quickly change the way I share my screen. So I'm able to open up the previous queries I wrote or we wrote together. So what we can see is the comments. I don't think I saved the database creation parts, but yes, we have been able to create our table. This is our table creation here, table creation. And what I just showed us after was that, since we created our table, we have not put any data inside. So it's an empty table. It's an empty table. How did I show us that? I showed us by saying, okay, let's do something and say select all, select. You see select and star. Select and star means select all. That you want to select something from something. Yeah, you want to bring something from something. So we don't write all, unfortunately, in SQL. You see star, select star. So normally when you want to select something, like even like in real life, if I have, let's say I like mangoes very well, somebody brings a bowl of mango, I go to the mango, okay, I want to select mangoes. But like I'm not just selecting mangoes or selecting let's say I want to carry all of them. So I'm not just carrying something from nothing. Where am I carrying the something from? Where am I carrying the mangoes from? From the buckets. So it's like saying select all mangoes from where the buckets or the bowl. So select all from employee. Select all from employee means I'm trying to show all that is in the employee table. So the employee that I'm talking about here, I hope it's not confusing because remember, we created a table and we called it employee. So whatever name you give your table is whatever you're going to reference if you are trying to call it, if you are trying to see what's inside. Because you can't just say select all from nothing. It has to be from somewhere. Select all from employee. So when I wrote this simple short query and I click on run or F5, employee does not exist. Relation employee does not exist. I think I might have deleted this table. I might have dropped this table. So let me just click create table. Yes. So select all from employee. And now you see that it's like you see the results. But like, of course, there's no data inside. So it's just like Excel when you just give a column header or a column name, or you are not putting anything inside, it's empty, right? So right now, our data is empty. Right now, we don't have anything inside our data, inside our table. So our table is empty. We don't have anything inside our table. We just have our table names, our table columns. And of course, you can see under it, you can see the data type that we specified. That is the only thing we have for now. That's the only thing we have for now. And I remember we were trying to um like, okay, I showed us an Excel file and I said, okay, this is what we're going to put, this is what we're going to do. And yeah, let me open it. Let me open it up. Let me open it up. I remember saying something like that or showing us something like that. So let me open up my Excel file. So if you remember in our previous class, I was not saying, okay, in Excel, so this is Excel, right? This is Excel. I was trying to show us like the similarities between what we're creating. Because what right now what we have is just the ID, the employee, and the department. We don't have anything inside. I don't know if we're here with me. Uh, any comments so far? You feel free to, if there's any questions as I'm talking, feel free to unmute yourself and communicate with me so I will know where we are or try to understand us a bit more better. So I don't know. So far so good. Does anyone have any question?
Kindly repeat. I've not understood the way you're explaining or to retrieve a file like your previous file.
My
Because I
previous
even
file.
didn't notice we saved it last time.
Yes,
There's the
I
way
don't
you are
think.
telling us to retrieve from your desktop.
Yeah. Okay. So were you able
Pardon,
to? Sorry, I didn't get you.
I'm asking.
Mm-hmm.
Hello,
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
I think I've an issue with internet. But, I'm asking.
Mm-hmm.
You are showing us the first step you have shown us to retrieve. It means you had already saved that file before, because I thought SQL will save it automatically.
No, SQL doesn't save automatically. So the thing is, like your queries, right, that you're writing, it doesn't save automatically. You have to specifically save it on your system. So far so good. Right now, we haven't really written that much queries. I think well, you should be seeing my screen right now. We haven't really written that much queries. The only thing that we have written as in terms of something that will communicate to database directly is the create table and this. So far so good. If you were not able to maybe save yours, because like you don't save automatically, you can just quickly copy what we have here, then try to save it. So if you need to share your screen so that we can see what you are doing, or like I don't know, but yes, you have to save manually, and this is the save button, save file. Then this is open file. So this is to save when it opens up on your system. So already what happens right now is that it didn't really open up anything because I already saved it. But let's say I create another query tool and I just write just something random, right? This is not a query or anything. I'm just writing something random. And I've not saved it before. Now I'll choose where to save it. I give it a name. You see, it saved at .sql file, .sql. So I give it a name, I press save. Then now let me just ty, just call it ty. Now it's on my system. So now anything I write, select or whatever, once I press save now, it's because we have already chosen the file directory and giving it a name, it just updates like the file from wherever it is. It's just like your normal Excel that when you create an Excel file, you haven't saved it, right? Normally, you just maybe you are putting in data, you haven't saved your Excel file. Until you go to file and save as and choose where it is, like when you choose where you want to save. After that, then as you keep on working and putting more things and pressing Ctrl S, you don't have to do that initial process again of choosing where to save on your system or whatever. Now it's already saved somewhere. So you saying Ctrl S is like saving, it's like updating what you currently have, basically. That's how the query tool works. Is in SQL. It's almost very similar, basically. You choose where to save the query tool because like this is how it saves. Let me show you at a .sql file. So you'll probably see it like this, whitish something, but you see .sql. Why mine is showing up like this is because it can open up somewhere else too, but that's by the wayside. So yes, this is how saving conventions work in terms of this when you are trying to save your query within your query tool in SQL in pgadmin specifically. And did that answer your question? Was that too long, or do I need to break it down more?
Okay. Okay. We can move on. We can move on.
No problem. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So yes, so far so good. We have an empty table. We have an empty table. There's nothing inside our table, but at least we have a table structure. We have a table some. At least we have a table that at least we have a house that we live in. Basically, that's almost like this. So we just need, although the table is empty, although the house maybe you're moving into a new place is empty, at least it's a house and it has rooms and it has its own structure. Like when small money is coming now, you can start buying things to fill up the house, maybe fill up a fridge, different kind of things. So I know that's a very different thing, but it's almost the same in a way in terms of you create a structure. Now the remaining thing to do now, you have bought the house, you have bought the fridge, maybe the freezer. Now the main thing to do now is start filling this fridge or freezer up with goods or items. Start buying the clothes, start filling the shelves and things like that. So right now, that's kind of like what we have to do now. We have to bring in something inside our table that we have created. So we are trying to create a table looking like this. We'll have ID 1, Glory, and the employee Glory and department computer science. We create another one, ID 2, the employee will be Mary, department geology. ID 3, the employee will be John, and John's department will be fisheries. That's what we're trying to create first. And we're doing all of this manually. We'll do this first before we move on. So let me just create this first row, or let's just create this first row together. So ID will be 1, employee will be Glory, and Glory's department is going to be computer science. So let's do that together. Let us do that together because we don't want an empty table. So how do we even do that in the first place? How do we even do that in the first place? So put something in a table. So put values in our table. We will use something we call the insert into. So you can see so far so good. Almost the things we'll be learning, kind of the queries have just been almost direct. Want to create database? Oh, create database. Want to create table? Oh, create table. Of course, that's not the only thing. Create table. You also have to specify the table column and the data type. Yeah, but it's somehow almost like normal English, kind of almost like plain English. Yeah, it's basically English, but just the way you have to structure the English in a way that fits the grammar. If I'm saying if saying English sounds somehow, you have to structure your grammar in a way that fits the SQL convention. So want to bring in something into the table, want to insert something into the table, want to insert into, we want to insert into. So here's how it works. So I'll just say insert into what? Like, okay, I want to bring something inside something, right? But what is the thing so far so good? I want to insert into the employee, the employee table, right? Because like that is where I want to bring in, because like it's empty right now, but now I want to bring in something inside. So what we use is the insert into employee, insert into employee. Now, after I say I want to insert into like the table I'm interested in, because of course there can be multiple tables within a single database schema and whatever, right? You know, there can be multiple tables inside. So you have to specify the table. Even if it's just one table, you still have to specify the table because SQL is a structured query language. Like it's a very specific, you have to be specific. Everything you do has to have structure. It has to have foundations. It has to have building blocks, right? Because if these building blocks, like if from the low, if from the like the foundation, things are not even straight or things don't make sense, you won't even be able to build anything. That's the beautiful part of SQL. So you see some places that they will build with shaky foundations and the house will collapse. Some most of the time with SQL, if your foundation is not even good, you'll never be able to progress. So yes, so we have to always be specific. We have to always do things according to the convention. So we want to insert into employees. I think that one is clear by everybody, right? Insert into the employees. So now you open a bracket. So it's almost like create table, but we're saying insert into employee because after the create table, you also have a bracket there. Forget that we give space and everything just to make it kind of understandable. We also have the bracket there. I remember the create table was us defining the table, but now the table has already defined. So now the only thing now we'll do after saying insert into employee will be now us selecting the columns that we want to put something inside or writing down the columns we want to put something inside, right? That's what we have to do now. We don't have to say that we don't have to say employee like now you see ID int all the way here, ID int, employee name text, department text. No, I mean that's good for create table, but since these data types of these columns have already been defined, when I'm choosing or when I know whatever column I want to insert, like I want to import data in, there's no need for me to define them again. So let me just write this and show you what I mean, right? So I want to insert something inside the employee, inside the ID, the employee name, sorry, and the department. So for reference is this. We want to bring in ID, want to bring in employee and department, and they are going to be, I mean, but when I say want to bring in this one for glory, ID one, employee glory, department computer science. That's what we want to do, right? So now I'm saying insert it to employee. Now it's time for me to choose or write down the columns. Write down the columns I want to bring something inside, right? So I'm saying, okay, I want something to be inside employee, ID. I want something to be inside employee name. I also want something to be inside department, right? So this is what I want to. This is what I want to bring something inside. This is what I want to bring something inside. This is what I want to bring something inside. So I'm not done. I am not done. I am not done, but I'm almost done. So the next thing I need to do, I've not run this query yet, and I will not run it yet until I complete or until I finish the structure of this query. So it's like, okay, insert into this. If I run it or just looking at this, it won't really make sense to run it directly. Should I tell you why? The reason is because, okay, you are saying you want to bring something. Okay, what do you actually want to bring inside this employee? Okay, okay, you say you want to bring something to the ID, you want to bring something to the department, I mean the employee name and department. Running it will make sense because like, okay, what are you actually bringing in there? Are you just talking? Like, it's not complete. It's not complete. If you tell SQL that you want to bring something inside a table, you have to tell it what you also want to bring. Like you have to tell it the values that you also want to bring. Okay, you said the values. Okay, you want to bring in something to ID, employee name, department. What are going to be the values of this ID? What are going to be the values of the employee name? And what are going to be the values of the department? So the incentive to works directly hand in hand with something called the values. So until I complete these values before I will bring in something. So if you see what I wrote here, right? I wrote insert into. I wrote the table I'm interested in. And I wrote the columns I want to bring something into. So now the values is also going to appear almost the same way with the insert into. What do I mean? So we have these three things. We have these three things. So I'm also going to put three things in the values because what I defined, like what I said I want to bring something inside are three things, are three columns, which are the ID, which are the employee name, and which are the departments. So let me specify it. Remember, ID one, employee glory, and department computer science. So I'll say one, comma, right? So what is the employee name? Glory. So I can write one directly. I mean, one is a whole number. It doesn't matter. Like I just have to, like if I can just write it directly, even if it's a decimal point or something, I can write it directly if it were. But I want it to be an integer, if you remember. So integers are whole numbers. They are whole numbers. So I have to make it a whole number, if you remember. So we're not just, although we're putting values inside this, the values are like also like, will I say constraints, or they are defined by our table creation statement. Like I'm just saying that the value we have to put inside have to be in accordance, yeah, with the data types we specified when creating our table. I hope I'm not being confusing. So let's finish this, right? So employee name Glory. So Glory, the text. So I have to put Glory within an apostrophe. So one, I can write one directly. For Glory, I have to put within an apostrophe. And remember, our department was computer science, right? So our computer science department, I will put us also within like an apostrophe code, so what they call it. So I'll write computer science. Computer science. And now, finally, my insert like okay, let's not forget this, and values. So right now, finally, if I run this together, so not really together, I'm running it at once. You can say together at once. This is the whole package basically. So finally, right now, if I run this, I would be able to see, we'll be able to see our output, or we'll be able to be bringing these values inside the table. So let's run. So insert query return successfully in 148 milliseconds. We don't need that information, but it has been returned successfully. So let's copy this. We're going to just repeat this, but I just want to show us in a new line. So instead of me running this here, after I pass this, let me bring it again. Let's try to see what is inside the employee table. Remember, select all from employee will show us what is inside the employee table that we have already defined. And now I've brought in something inside. So let's run this right now. So we can see our empty table, our table that was once empty, right, now has values. And these values were what we defined. These values were what we purposely put inside. We used the insert into, we specified the columns we wanted to bring something inside, right? After specifying the columns, we also specify the values that fit according to the table creation, this thing that we did, like the create table, this thing, the data types, it fits according to the data types that we set in the table creation statement or query. So any questions so far?
Yes, I have a question.
Go ahead, go ahead.
So what if we have a data that's like 1 to 1,000 data that have to input in this table? Are we going to do it one, or is there any way that you can input all of them at once?
Okay, so we are not going to do it one. Of course, that would be virtually impossible or overly time consuming. So we can also, we can also import a table inside a table that has already been created, like maybe, although this is very short, I could decide to save this and import this into Postgres also, into pgadmin. So this way I'm showing us is a manual way. After we look at this manual way, we will look at how to import it, like something already stored somewhere. Yeah, but there's a similarity. The similarity there or here is that you have to define before you bring in. What do I mean? There has to be a table before you insert, whether you insert into, whether you bring into, whether you bring data into the tables by using the insert tool and manually typing what you want to bring, or maybe you have a table somewhere. You always have to create your table. Like when I say table somewhere, let's say you have something saved as an Excel file, right? In SQL, in the database that you're using, whether it's Postgres, whether it's MySQL or this thing, you always have to create a structure for that thing you want to bring in. And by structure, I mean specifically a table. So let's say this something now has several columns or whatever. I still have to create a table before I now insert, before I now like import and whatever. So we'll get there also. So after, let's just practice the insert into the manual way. Then we'll talk about the other way. Is that
Okay.
fine?
Yes, sir, it's okay.
Yes. So, no problem. Thank you very much. So I don't know if there's any other questions, or are we following? Are we able to do this on our systems too? Because the aim is to also be trying it out as we are going. Okay, this is also a recorded call though. You could do it after, but specifically, it's always best to be following along with what's going on, following along with what is going on. So we are going to do more. I mean, remember we said we were going to insert this data inside this. So I've only brought one column, right? Or one row, sorry. I've only brought one row of data. So let's bring the other two rows. So it's going to be very easy. We already are familiar with how to go about it. We're going to use the insert into. We're going to bring in the values. But because the only thing, okay, something is slightly going to change, because like this is just one value that we brought in. So what if we are trying to bring in like this is not just one value. I mean, this is just these values you are seeing here is something in just one row. You can see it's just one row. Columns is like this. Columns is a horizontal. What's it called? What's the difference again? Columns are vertical, rows are horizontal, or how do you say it again at this point? But yeah, so let's bring two more columns, which is the one for Mary and John, the employees. So let's do that. So I'm just going to bringing in Mary and John, bringing in Mary and John. So let's do this together. So it's still what we know. Insert into. Oops. Insert into. What are we bringing something inside? We're bringing something inside our employee table. Employee, not employees, because we didn't create employees. We created employee. Is that employee? So what columns do we want to bring something inside? Want to bring something inside the ID? Want to bring something inside the employee name? I want to bring something inside the department. So I've specified where I want to bring something in. So what are the values? What are the values? The values, the first one is 2, because now we're on the second row, right? And we have Mary. And Mary's department was what? Was geology. So already a mistake. Can anybody point my mistake? There's an error somewhere here. Inside is bringing Mary and John. Can anybody point it out?
You know our column to be Mary.
Yes. The apostrophe stuff. The apostrophe, or is it quotes? What people call it? It hasn't been added to the Mary. So yes, what was our department again? I have forgotten. So I'll just quickly look at it. Our department is geology. Okay, geology and fisheries. So geology. Now, we're not done yet because I said we're going to bring it to at once, right? So the next thing we're going to do is just apply a comma. So you apply a comma after these values. And I press enter. So I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to give a space all the way here. The reason why I'm doing that is because now I've said I want to bring in values and I brought out one row of values. I mean, one row. So we're bringing on that row. I don't have to say values again, but I want it to kind of look structured. So I gave space all the way to almost how it was when I created this first, what's it called? Bracket. When I open the first bracket and I put whatever I want. So basically, if I put 3, if I put, I think John, and if I put fisheries, so let's not forget. Apple fisheries. Do you know that I've not run this yet, but can we look at this and kind of understand? So it's basically the same thing here. It's basically the same thing as what's here. But now, of course, I'm bringing in more than one row of values. Yeah, I'm bringing in more than one row of values. Like I'm not just bringing before, we just brought one row, which is ID1, employee name, Glory, and department computer science. But in this our situation, this is our case, we're bringing 2, right? So we're bringing 2. So the bracket that we close, that we define, this is us defining a row specifically. And remember, we're not just doing this randomly. This is not something random. This is not something random. We say we want to insert into employee, or want to bring into employee the ID, want to bring into employee names, and want to bring into employee departments. So what I'm writing in the value has to follow the structure of which it is. Has to follow the structure which it is in this place and where I defined it. Right? So 2 ID, good. Employee name, this, good. So I can now go ahead to run this. But before I run this, you can see if I press selector again from employees, it's still the same thing. I've not brought anything inside. So let us run this now and see how this changes. So run, query return successfully. Now let me copy this and bring it under. Let me change my indentation. So select all from employees now. Let's try it together. Now we have the ID of Mary and John. We have their names. We have their departments. Any questions? Are we trying this on our own also?
Yes, I'm trying it on my own.
No problem, no problem. Please, let's try it. Let's try it together. Let's try it together. Let's be seeing. Let's try it on our own and see how it goes. Any issues, anybody? Maybe you're trying it, maybe you receive saw an error. Feel free to mention it if there's an error somewhere, if there's a part you're not understanding, if there's a question. If there's no question, I might ask a question. So let me ask my question. Let me ask my own question. It's very simple question, but I'll ask it regardless. So far so good. So far so good. So far so good. Yeah, I've been inserting into, and that one is fine. It's okay. But like I noticed that although we just have three columns in our data, and we are just all the data we're bringing in. I notice what we're bringing in, like we're literally filling everything in our data, like the ID, the employee name, the departments. We're literally filling everything, filling everything, filling everything. What if I don't want to fill everything? What if I just want to bring in ID and employee name, but I don't know the department of the employee? Can I still do something like that? Do I need to, or do you need to always specify all the columns when you are saying insert into? Then maybe when I get to, let's say, the employee name side, the department now, sorry, when I get to if I know the ID now, for example, so let me just copy this, right? Or let's copy this full thing and go down. Let's copy this thing, full thing and go down. Yes. So must you always define all the columns when you want to bring in something? I think that's the question. The answer is no. You must not define all the columns when you want to bring in something. Why? You only define where you want to, like the columns where, like where you want to bring something inside. So there's a difference between defining all the columns when you want to bring in something and defining all the columns where you want to bring something. What do I mean in essence? So I don't necessarily need to bring something inside all the columns at the same time. Or let's say I don't necessarily need to fill all the rows at the same time, because there's a lot of times I may not know. For example, this is a fictitious company, small data and whatever. For example, I don't know the department of the person. So must I call the department and then send into? The answer is no. The answer is no. The answer is no. So I could decide to bring in, okay, I discovered, oh, a new employee and whatever has come to the company. I decided, okay, let's update this database with this employee's details, right? Let's update this database with this employee's details, but I'm not sure of the department. I'm not sure of the department. I could still bring the person's name inside regardless, but I'll just bring in what I know about the person. So let me change this to bringing in Peter. So I'll bring in Peter into the company data or the company table or company's employee table or database or whatever you want to call it. So I'll bring in Peter. I want to bring in Peter, but I don't know Peter's department. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that when you're trying to, it's like saying you want to bring if you want to bring something somewhere, there's always a place. Or if I want to carry a book to a specific column or a specific shelf in a library, libraries are always very organized. There's always, let's say I have a sociology book, there was always the sociology department to bring something inside. But now if I don't specifically know the departments, I can just bring it to where I know. I can bring it to the reception or whatever, or the person that's in charge of the place, and later, or I don't think these examples the most making sense. But what I'm trying to say in essence, you don't necessarily need to specify, you don't necessarily need to fill all the columns at the same time. So what we know about Peter is just his name and ID. Knowing just the name.
So in this scenario, can you use a kind of makeshift filler, maybe use null or ask check letter to fill in the department in the case of Peter?
Okay. Yeah, yes, it's a valid question. So you could, the thing is that it just depends on how you want to go. You can say no, you can write null actually in the place of the department and update it later. Or you can just leave the department like blank.
Like don't just type anything there and see how it goes.
Yes, you can just not write anything there and see how it goes. So let's give Peter an ID of 4. Like, and maybe by see how it goes, I mean, like maybe when you know it, the department, you can now be able to, like that place that is like no or whatever, you can now be able to like replace it with the actual department. So that's what we're actually going to do right now. So we know the name, we know the ID. So the name is what? The name is the ID is Peter. I mean the name is Peter and the ID we're giving him 4. So I'll put in Peter inside. So let me spell Peter correctly. So we just have the ID and we just have the name. So let's run this and let's see how it occurs. So run, query run successfully. So let's see what's going on in our table. Let us see what's going on in our table. So select all from employee. Now we see ID 4,
I have a question.
employee name, Peter. Go ahead.
From this thing I ran, it's
Yes.
showing me multiple glory appeared twice, Mary. It just showing me multiple. I think I should show you. Let me just share my screen so you see.
Please show me. Please show me. I think maybe I should stop sharing mine. Please show me. I like to see that.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you seeing it now?
I'm seeing it. Oh, it seems you ran this like you ran it several times.
It's actually one, so I did that though.
You ran it once.
It's showing, I don't know, unless I mistakenly ran it, but it's once. It's showing glory,
Because
baby, John,
glory is appearing.
3
Is
times.
appearing several times. That means you might have you probably run it more than once. Yes. So what you can do in this instance now that's
Okay, probably because I'm seeing this one is highlighted.
Yeah. So what you can do, but we have not gotten there right now yet, but let's get there a bit early. So for you, your solution now, because you have a lot of things, at least you have your table creation, this thing there, you have your table creation statement, you have your create database there. I mean, you have created a database. Yes, you have created your table, you have defined the structure. Now you have done the insert into, but because you have done it multiple times, it's already looking somehow. So if I tell you to clear this table now, or the best solution that I will give to you right now will be to clear this table, but don't clear the table structure, like don't actually delete the table, but like clear the things inside so that you can rerun this again. And when you rerun this again, now you have just these 3 values. You have just these 3 values. So the query, or how you're going to go about that, is you're going to use something called a truncate. The truncate table. So truncate table, what truncate table does for you, or we do
I
for
should
you,
use
is
truncate.
that yes, write it truncate table. It will clear all the data inside the table, but it will not delete the table. So your table structure still remains. It will just go back to that first time that we just created a table and nothing was inside. Truncate table employee.
Okay.
So you can run this now. So that select all from employee, highlight it again, and you see that your table is empty. You still have the columns and the data types, but you don't have anything in the table again. Yes. So now that you have an empty table, now you can now insert into again. So like, those duplicates and whatever will not be there. To just be
I can just highlight this one and run back.
Yes, you can highlight and run again. No, highlight and run. But I'm sure you remember what happened. So highlight and run.
Okay.
Make sure you highlight everything. Yes. Then select all from employee now. And you see that you just have 1 glory, or 1 glory, 2 Mary, 3 John, and you have the departments.
Okay.
Yes, so
Thank you very much.
how is that looking like? You're welcome. Is it looking crazy, or is it looking, it might look somehow? some
It was
people,
actually
depending.
looking somehow, like I said, what was happening?
Yeah, it's fine. It's all right. It's all right. So we went a bit, what's the word? We went a bit ahead, but although like is a new word, I mean, truncate. What does that even mean? But we have been able to, I'm sure we have been able to see what it does. So if there's any other person in the chat or in the group or in the call that probably have made a mistake, do a lot of duplicate or something, but I don't want to start stressing yourself or something, like you can just truncate your table and rerun your inserts into with the values like at the same time inside. Now you just have, when you truncate your table, you have a fresh table, you bring something new, and it'll be okay. So if any of us is in the same situation, we can go ahead and do that. So any questions so far? Any other questions? In the absence of no questions, we'll continue. We will continue. We will continue. So in this our situation, right? We have been able to bring in data about Peter, but we just brought in literally his name and his ID. We just brought his name and his ID, unfortunately. But right now, we are maybe somebody has maybe working in HR. I don't know. HR has told us, oh, this is his department. Okay, that's department, right? Okay, but this is in a certain department. Let's call the department mining. Yeah, let's call it, maybe it's in the mining department, right? Okay, now that we know that it's in the mining department, how do we bring this new information? So how do we bring this new information about Peter inside the database? So updating or bringing in new information. Anyone you want to say it? Bringing in new info about Peter in the table into, sorry for this, into the table. That's next thing we want to go ahead and try. That's next thing we want to go ahead and try. So we want to bring in information about Peter. Want to bring in information about Peter into our database. So this is what we're going to do. We're literally going to use something called the updates. We're going to say something. We're going to use something called the updates. Why? We won't use the inserting tool because we already brought like we already have like a structure for Peter in terms of we have his ID and we have his name. If we use inserting tool and say inserting tool employee, we say departments. Okay, let me show what I'm saying. Right? If I say this, if I rewrite this and say, okay, now we know the department is mining, right? His department is mining, for example. But I say, okay, oh, let's just put mining. Let's insert it to employee. Let's put, his department want to bring, right? Departments. And we say values. Oh, values is going to be mining, right? Because maybe it's for Peter. Like you might be thinking it might be the right thing. But unfortunately, this is the wrong thing. I don't know whether the spelling of mine is correct at this point. Yes. Unfortunately, this is the wrong thing. If we say insert into employee, departments, values mining, like it just brings in a new department now without names. So let's run this. And let's check it out by saying select all. So I should probably always just bring this under so that you just see where we're moving from top to bottom. So you can see now, we just brought in a department called mining, but we have no ID attributes. We have no employee name attributes assigned with it. So how are we going to actually update Peter's department? So let me decide to change to something else. Let's say not mining. Let's say not mining, but we can still put it in mining. Let's put it in mining. Let's save it as mining, right? Let's set it as mining. So let's update. So what we want to do right now, so I just showed us right now that the inserting tool would not work. The inserted tool works to bring in data, mind you,
Sorry,
right?
sir.
You can see it work.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry,
Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm drawing you back, sir.
No problem.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to do what you did with Peter before this thing, but mine is showing me value list must all be the same length.
Can I see it? Can I see your screen?
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So when I tried
Okay,
adding
I've seen your error.
for Peter, it showed me value list must all be the same length.
I have seen your error. So this is the error, right? So please always, first of all, I think what you are doing will give you that error again, that you had duplicates in terms of the things that were in your data. It will give you that again if it would have worked, but it won't work. So this incentive to, right? Anytime you want to bring in new things, you always like rewrite. You can see the way I'm rewriting my setting to and my values and whatever. So you go to you have to actually rewrite this. Don't always run like you already if you wanted to add something. Let's say Peter's, you put the department as something else, right? And you run this again because you already run it. You'll be bringing duplicate data into your table. So always like write the incentives, this thing again, and your values that you want to bring inside. So what's actually going on here? Yeah, let's say the table is empty, right? Let's say the table is empty. What's actually going on here is you said you want to bring into employees, you want to bring in IDs about the employees, the employee ID, right? You want to bring the employee name, and you want to bring the employee department. And so far, so good. You did it in values. I mean, you brought in Glory's ID, brought in the name Glory and departments. Well, okay, you did ID two, Mary, name the employee name Mary, and department geology. Okay, we're going ID three, employee name John. That's good. Department fisheries. Now, where this is now wrong is because you already said you want to bring three things. You said in that insert into, you said you want to bring three things or three columns: ID, employee name, and department. But now I'm seeing ID four. Okay, that's good, right? I'm seeing employee name Peter, but I'm not seeing department. So that's why you're saying values must all be the same length. It is not the same length as what you said you will bring. So you're not fulfilling your promise. It's like you're saying
Oh,
something and doing another.
okay.
Yes.
Okay, so in essence, if this wasn't here and maybe I did another insert into, it's going to just
So
come normally.
it's a come normally, but I'm seeing a comma. Down, you already that fisheries is the last one, so there should not be comma there.
Okay, okay, okay,
Yes.
okay. In essence, if we want to do insert into, if I don't have the last, maybe in this case, maybe this is a school, I don't have the departmental name, and I just put
Yes.
what's it called, ID and name without adding the department, is going to return an error.
It's going to return an error because you stated that you want to also bring the department. So in this case that
Okay.
you don't know the department, you can just leave the department blank. So you just say ID and employee name, finish.
Okay, thank you very much. I just
You
wanted to
bring.
be clear on that because thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. No problem. No problem. No problem. If there's anybody experiencing similar issue or any other issue, feel free. Feel free. So yes. So I'll go back to sharing my screen. In this our situation. Let's share screen. Share. Okay. So I was saying, yes, what was I saying again? I was saying that we want to specify or want to say or want to input, any you want to say it, want to specify the departments, Peter's departments. So we want to bring in the department of Peter. Peter. So of course, in an organization, multiple people can be in the same department. So we'll still leave Peter's department as mining. So mining. Forgive my spelling if oh God, what's going on? Forgive my spelling if I'm spelling it wrong. I think it's mining, MINING. Yes. So we want to specify that Peter's department is mining because why? It's just nothing is there. We didn't put it before, but now we know that's mining. If Peter is in the mining department, we are aware, we are sure, we know. that is mining. So let us do that. So how are we going to do that? We're basically going to update the employees table. We're going to update the employees table. We're going to update the employees table, right? We're going to say update. So I'll be a bit slow here so that we'll take it in, we'll take it in, we'll take it in, we'll take it in. So updates, what table do you want to update? I want to update employee, right? What's the next thing we want to do? We want to say that Peter's department is mining. Yeah. So I want to say, I want to set something. So let me show you this. I will explain this. Let me show you what's in my mind because we're not seeing it yet. Like the full thing hasn't come out. So I'll say set equals to mining. So let's look at this. Let's look at this first. Before I do the last, there's one more thing I need to do. I need to specify exactly where I want to set department as mining. Because if I run this, God forbid, if I run this like this, remember the question or the if you remember, I don't know if I'm being too fast here. If you remember what we want to do specifically is set someone's department as mining. And who is that someone? That someone's name is Peter. That someone's name is Peter. So basically, yeah, what we're using is the update. So we're saying update employee. What is employee? Employee is basically the table. So it's like saying update table, update employee, update employee, update table. And now I'm saying, okay, set, we're using something called set. Set. That set there is like, it's basically what it means. Set, like make, assign, right? Set, assign, make. But the sets, because it's SQL understands set. If you say right make, if you say assign, it doesn't understand it. Yeah, want to set department equals to mining. But we're not done. We'll have to specify that, okay, where the employee name is equal to Peter. We'll have to specify something like that. But before we do that, I will run this. I will run this though. Or should I run this so that we'll see what will happen? If I run this like this, I'm basically saying every department should be set as mining. I don't know whether you guys think I should take the risk and run this. But if I run this, I have to start going back and like, okay, if I run this, I have to empty my table basically. And, or, okay, I can run this. Do you guys think I should? It's just going to take me a little while to update the things back. But what's your opinion? Do you want to see what happens when I run this?
Yes, I want to.
No problem. So if I say update employee, set department equals to mining, is going to make, so let me just copy this so that when I run this, I can just easily see. So update employee, set department equals to mining. If I run this, the whole department is going to be mining. So let's confirm. Oh, I could have taken a screenshot. Oh my God. But anyhow, I think we wrote the department's things down. So basically now, because we are not specified, so you can see it run, because we are not specified that Peter, that like department equals to mining where the person's name is Peter. Yeah, we are not specified, we're not to the SQL. So now it has literally said department as equals to mining. So everybody basically is in the mining department. It's cool to see this, but unfortunately, because of our not being specific, because we're not being specific here, this has basically tampered with our data. Our data has been tampered with, altered with in the wrong way. So a major feature of SQL is specificity and structure. Structure, specificity go together. So you need to use the right structure and always specify what you want to do. Like you need to follow the right conventions or the right foundations or however you want to say it, the right way, the right model, the right syntax, whenever you're writing a query. And you also need to specify. So we did not specify, unfortunately. We did not specify that the person's name that wants his department to be mining is Peter. So now all the departments has been overwritten as mining. All the departments has been overwritten as mining, So in this kind of case, what I'm going to do, this is going to be, I am going to show us how we're going to update this. So I'm not going to use truncates. I can use truncates and go back to my queries and run them again. It won't take time at all. But this thing I want to show us might take a little bit more more time, but it might be helpful for us to just maybe get used to this specificity I'm talking about in terms of who are you, like which department are you actually changing. So we already know, I think we can easily remember the departments of Glory, Mary, and John. So Glory is computer science, Mary is geology, excuse me, John is fisheries. So I think I can easily do that. So so let me write something here. Specified business departments. Unfortunately, we did not. Here, unfortunately, we didn't. We didn't. We didn't, unfortunately, here. So, and now we can see that's what happened to our this thing. Let me write it down. Our table departments have now all been changed to mining. What are we going to do next? Since unfortunately our data has been changed to mining, let's update. Let's update with the right thing. So always be careful. Like when you are using any of these things, like this update sets, always be careful. So these are situations, I mean, we can afford not being careful because how many things are here? We can just easily insert inside and whatever. And it's not really real life data too at the same time. So it's not critical. We can just put in something somewhere. Imagine you are doing something in a database where the tables have not been backed up anyway. Just give it to you as they have, or you are just even using their system or the computer system of the company, and like you do something like this, you might be doomed, or it might be in lots of soup, as we say it in some places. So let me just put this under here, and let's what we're going to do is we are going to use update statements. We're going to do it for the first three people, right? Glory. We're going to do it for Glory. We're going to do it for Mary. We're going to do it for John. So I'm going to do this. Copy. Let's update their proper departments. Departments. So we're not using truncate this time, but we have already used it with Papa Charles. Yeah, but let's just use this one so that we'll get used to it. So remember, Glory computer science, Mary geology, John fisheries. So Glory. Oops. Anyhow, Glory computer science. Right? So update employee, set department. So department is not going to be mine in here because we want to change for Glory. Right? That's why I wrote Glory computer science. We're going to update Glory's own now. Set department equals computer science. Like where is a specific place, or where is a specific, like who, like where is a specific column? Like is it employee name? Is it ID, or like this thing, right? So I can say where do we need to apply this computer science to? We need to apply it to where employee name, right, is equal to Glory. So let's run this and use our selector to see what's going on. Update employee, set department equals computer science. We're specific. We are being intentional, being specific right now. where employee name is equal to Glory. Let's run this and see. Query returned successfully. So let's borrow this as we usually do. Select all from employee and see whether Glory department has been updated. So now Glory's department has been updated. Glory's department has been updated. Glory's department has been updated. Any questions so far? In the absence of questions, I am going to do this for what's their names? Mary and John. Mary and John Fishery, Geology and Fisheries, right? So this is basically just going to be a copy and paste action. Copy and paste action, and copy and paste I'm going to be editing. So if I'm too fast for you, please tell me. But basically, I've told us that I want to change Mary and John. So wherever you see Glory, the next one, I mean, this place I'm copying Glory is going to be Mary. Mary, let me not forget. Mary is Geology, John is Fisheries. So Geology. So that'll be where employee name is what? Mary. And of course, set department Geology. Oops. Consciously. Set department Geology. Geology. Right? So I'm not gonna run that yet. I'll just do it for before I run that, I'll do it for John. So John is fisheries, right? John is fisheries. Fisheries. So if you don't understand anything so far, you can tell me if I'm being too fast and tell me to go slow. But I'm doing what we all know, or what we already like insert like where we already use the inserted to and the values to bring in. But I'm just doing it a different way with the updates. So I'm updating, I'm saying department equals to this and employee equals to this. So where employee name is equals to John. So let's run the one for Mary. So Mary, it's been updated. So let's see. Wherever we see Mary, we should see Geology. Mary, Geology, good. Mary, Geology, good. So let's do for John. And let's check it out. So John Fisheries, very good. So the last one was okay. I think we're done. But let's just do something, right? So we have nulls and we have nulls going on here. We have nulls and we have nulls going on here. We have nulls going on here. But so far so good. Before I even go, tell me, am I being too fast? Any questions, any concerns? Feel free.
So I have a question.
Go ahead.
The whole database was turned to mining. That we can automatically update it other than doing it one.
Sorry. Yes, but in that situation where the whole department was turned to mining, it was not what we specifically wanted. Yes, you can if all of them if they are all in departments mining, that will be okay. Yeah, but unfortunately, remember, we already had if you go all the way up, we already have defined their departments. I've said, okay, Glory computer science, this thing, so Mary geology, this John fisheries, they already have their departments. So when we did this, remember, when we did this part, where we said set department equals to mining, because we were not specific, like we just said of the employee, set department equals to mining. Literally, it will make everything in the department mining because we need to say where. I don't know if you understand.
No, sir.
Okay, so this is how I'm going to explain to you, right? So you understand the update part because like the reason why using remember before I did this update, before I did this set, I tried to say because now we had brought at this point, we go all the way up here, we had brought Peter's ID, we had brought Peter's name, right? So you can see we say ID employee name, and we said the ID is 4 and the value is Peter. That means the employee name is going to be Peter. But of course, unfortunately, if I run this, you will not see this again because we have already done different things to this table. So it's not be the same thing if I run like as it is. But we now said, okay, we wanted to make Peter's department mining. But when I said, okay, let's try the insert into and values, and let's not say anything. Like we just say, okay, we don't want to bring the mining this thing to Peter. We now try the insert into and values. But unfortunately, what happened was this. What happened was this. When we say insert into employees department, okay, that's good. And you say the value of the department is mining. Although we wanted to assign this mining to Peter, we did not specifically say like we cannot use the insert into now to say like unless like at this point we said okay ID employee name and department my name for Peter. We cannot use the same insert into to update the value for Peter. The value for Peter meaning to update Peter's department. We cannot do it with insert to. What the insert to does is literally just bringing data into your table. If you are literally inserting data into your table. So at each instance when you run the insert to and you always specify the values because you can't say insert to without the values. At the instance that you use insert to and the values, you are bringing new data. Like you always insert to basically is you typing something. Is insert to the values, you typing something. And unfortunately, you cannot like use that same incentive to like edit or to update something that you already brought inside. Once you have brought inside something, like it basically goes down. It's like saying me adding maybe Fiona here. Of course, this is just me running in Excel and whatever. But the way SQL does it, right? If you say I want to bring in ID and employee, I say the ID is for employee is Fiona, and I say insert it to employees ID employee values for Fiona. Once I run that, if I say insert into again, it's like it goes to the next line. It's like it goes down to the next line. So if I say insert into again, I specify the column and I specify the values. It writes it down here. Let's see 5. It writes it here, and the next insert to now it goes down. So it doesn't stay at here. It doesn't stay here now because we did ID ID for Peter, employee name for Peter. We now still try to do insert it to bring in mining. No, because let's say this is what it does. Maybe Peter's ID was 4, but let's say 6 now, right? Peter. This was the insert we did, right? So unfortunately now once you do this ID, like once you specify what you want to bring in and you specify like the values, if you want to do another insert and values again, it doesn't stay on this row that you were before. It goes down. It goes down to the next row. I don't know if you're understanding. So a solution to that now, right? A solution to that now, because that's just how the inserting to works. You bring something inside. Once you have brought something inside, you have brought something inside. If you say you insert it to again and you say values, you are bringing a new thing. You are not staying on where you were before. So even if I say insert it to employees, departments, and I will say departments, maybe for Peter, fisheries, no, it won't stay on that same place it was before. It will go to the next line. That's just going to the next line. So we not from that fact, right? Because we tried it out, and that is what we got. So we just say insert it to what is it? Send to employee. You say department. Okay, you want to bring in department and want to bring the value of department as mining. This is what it does. It didn't say, okay, you might not really be seeing this because that time Peter was empty. It didn't say because Peter is empty, this inserting tool that we brought into employees, this mining as department should be for Peter. No, it didn't say that. It created another row and it just put mining there because we said we want to just put mining department inside the employee table. I don't know if you still don't understand. Can you hear me? Can anyone hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. I can hear you.
Yes, I don't know if my question has been answered.
Yes.
I think
can
was
hear.
who.
I get what you're
Okay.
saying, but I don't think this guy is here. It's like the network. He's having network challenge, Williams.
Okay, no problem, no
But I
problem,
get the
no
explanation.
problem.
I think he's having network
Okay,
challenge.
thank you. No problem. Thank you very much. So I think we can move on. We can continue from where we are. Let's not say move on. We were where we where we decided not to use the truncates, right? To empty the table and just go back and rerun the things we have run. So we decided to use the updates. So I've been specifically saying update employee set department, like what we already know. Basically, we're just replacing them with the values we already know. So we did that for glory. We did that. So update departments for update employee, set department equals to computer science, where employee name equals to glory.
Mr.
Done
Gusa,
that. Yes, sir.
I don't know. I don't want to speak for Williams. I think what Williams was asking is instead of doing update for Glory individually, update for was Mary individually, can't it be done like collectively together at the same time? Maybe update employee. You understand? You do set
Okay.
departments equal to computer science where employee name equal to glory, then maybe you put a comma where employee name again equal to,
No, no, no,
or
no.
you have to do
Something.
it individually.
The thing is, it depends on the situation. In this situation, like in this situation, right? This won't work. That won't work.
Oh,
Something
okay.
like that we only work in a certain situation where um, let's say okay, it will not work in this specific situation because everything here is different in terms of like departments and everything. So I can't say
Okay, in
uh
essence, it's going to work in a
said
situation where the
department.
departments are the same for the same employee name.
Yes, maybe the departments, let's say the departments are the same, and maybe you want to set like something else that's not really because if the departments are the same now, I can use the fact that the department are the same to we'll do something like that soon. I have a certain example that I might show about something like that, but we can't just say set department equals to computer science, when name equals to glory, comma, this the not specifically, right? We did like because what we're doing, we're trying to just replace the things we already have. So all of them were different.
Okay, sir, thank you very much.
All of them were different. Yes. So the next thing we're going to do now is I just want us to get used to this updates something, right? So this department that is mining that we don't have an ID. Let's try to give it an ID, and let's try to give it a employee name. Okay. Or should we not do that something like that? Is that okay with us? Okay, so let's do something like that. So I would say let's do what we have to let's do what we have to do. Let's update the mining department. So the mining that stands alone, let's update it kind of. So want to give it, so let's give the person that the other person in the mining department, let's give the person ID 5, and let's give the person a name of Sonia. So there are just different ways to do this. So this one now, so far so good. I've been saying set this and this, and this is just going to be a bit different. So update employee, want to set employee, update employee. But now we're not setting departments because we already have departments, right? So let's set ID equals to 5, right? Where employee name, we don't have employee name. So like for this mining, like this is what I want to do, right? I want to update the mining department with, let's say, a specific name. No, let's say a specific ID. Want to update with ID first, then we'll do it for your name. So I'm updating the ID, right? If I do it the way I've been doing it, like if I say set ID equals to 5, where department equals to mining, for example. The reason why I changed this from something looking like this, because that's what almost like how I'll be doing it, right? Where department equals to mining. What will happen here now? Because we have two departments that are mining, right? We have two mining departments basically. So if we set ID equals to 5, where department equals to mining, you can imagine that Peter's ID will also change.
Okay.
Peter's ID will also change. So we just have to what we have to like readjust the way we structure things, like, or it's the same kind of structure in terms of update, set, and specify, but the way we specify this situation will not be a bit different. Before we can, if maybe there was no department mining, right? If it was just one mining department, which is this one that is null, that the ID and the employee name is null, I can easily say set ID equals to 5, where department equals to mining. But now we have two people that are in the mining departments. So I have to tell SQL a bit differently, right? Because like now what I want to bring is just for the person whose ID is empty, not the person, and his department is also mining, not the person whose department is mining, but he has something in his ID. I don't know if that sounds confusing, but it's just if you look at the logic behind it, or if you look at the way it's set up, or I want to set it up right now, you see it's not really stressful. It's not really complicated. So set ID equals to 5. Now I can't use the mining as the major landmark now. Before I was using employee name equals to John as major landmark, because for John, we want to give the person fisheries. And it was just one person that was named John. The same thing for Mary. Just one person named Mary. So I can easily set that person, that one person, that name is Mary, to geology. It's fine, it's okay, no issue, no stress, no wahala. But unfortunately now, two people have the same department as mining. Yeah, there are two instances of the mining being departments. So if I say the set ID equals to 5, where department equals to mining, it will not just apply to this empty space, it will also apply to the person who already has an ID, and that is not what we want to do. So we have to be specific about whatever we're doing. So we can't use this. But what can we use? We can use where employee name. So we can use where employee name is null. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing.
Yes, I'm seeing it.
So let me run this. Query run successfully. So let's say select all now from employee and see what's going on. Now we have an ID of 5 for where the employee name is null. Is that looking difficult? Is that looking complicated? Feel free, feel free.
It's understandable anyway, but then after doing that, you now have to look for a way to put in the employee name.
Yes, that one, it should be quite easy. Do you want to try that one out? You could share your screen and try that one out. Let's update the employee name.
Sorry, instructor. Sorry for dragging you
No
back. I was
problem.
logged out by network. Please, can you repeat what you did? I wasn't here.
Okay, first of all, repeat the question.
I
If you
said
can, I hope your network is back.
okay. I said I was logged out by network, so I wasn't here when you did the updating. So please, can you repeat what you did?
We are dragging us back a bit. So I'll do it regardless, but I'll be very fast because of this. I think to be able to, I've been able to explain it to the entire class. So if you don't get so much of my explanation, just because I don't want to spend too much time on it, don't get, I think you can ask other people in the group too. But I'll just give a quick overview of what they're saying. So, or what's of the question, the answer I gave, right? So what you were referencing, right, or what you were saying, or from my, at least from my own knowledge, was that where is it? Yes, that we can easily edit the entire department, which is true. Like when we said department equals to mining, I mean, like we can easily change the department to be mining, the entire department column to be mining. It can be good if that's very good if we know that everything in our column, let's say, let's the specific example I can give that this makes sense is that this will make sense well is if maybe you have data about Nigerians and maybe you have the state information and whatever, wherever the people are from, etc. Right? But you also have the country information. So if it's data about Nigerians and they say you should put the country, you should also put a column for the country. You can just say, you can just easily maybe say something, do something like this. For example, if there's nothing in the country column, update maybe Nigeria or something, whatever the table name is, update table, set department equals or set country equals to Nigeria. In that kind of situation now, everybody in the database or everybody in the table, yeah, or every information in the table are coming from Nigeria. So I can easily say, oh, Nigeria, and it will be okay. But in this our situation, not all employees are from mining in the mining department. So us doing this overrode, what's the grammar? Was like made our table overwritten, like our department column and our table overwrote over English is it's not our first language. Yeah, it's just like took over literally the entire department columns and made everything mining. And that was not a good solution, unfortunately. That's why, like I mentioned, that we always have to specify. We always have to specify. Set department equals to mining, yes, but where? Who? Like in what way? In what sense? Is it for the is it for where ID is equals to something, or is it for where employee name is equals to something? Yeah, you have to specify. I don't know if that answered the question or.
Yes, it did.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So I think we can move on. So I wanted to just do the last one, which is update the, not the last one, shall we still going on? Update the employee name for Sonia. So I'm just going to copy this and paste. So update employee, set what? Set employee name. So I'm just going to copy and paste here, copy paste. Set employee name equals to Sonia, where I can just use anything. I can't use my name now though. So you can see I can't use my name because of course if I say employee name equals to Sonia, where is in my this thing department equals to my name. Remember Peter is also in my name. So what I can use is ID. Well, if there's any question about this, feel free. I've seen a question, but I might skip it if nobody asks it. Where ID is equals to 5. Of course, I have to exit. Let's run it and see what happens. Query run successfully. So let's say let's use our selector. So let me not forget to save. Let's not forget to save our work. I just clicked on my save. That already selected where I want to save it to my directory. So I'm just doing the normal thing. So let's see now. Now we have Sonia updated. 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 Any questions? Okay. In the absence of questions, let's learn how to delete something from this table. let's learn how we can actually delete something from this table. So for that, I don't want to delete anything we have painstakingly written. Most of these things we took a bit of time to write. So I am just going to copy and paste this. I want to just bring in something with nulls. I don't want to rewrite the insert into again. Let's bring in something, a new info, right? I'm just going to bring in something that we're going to delete. So whatever I'm bringing in is meant to be deleted. So I'll say the department to be astrology. Astrology. Yes, so department will be astrology. We're going to delete this after. But I hope right now, at least with the insert into, we're quite familiar. So if I say insert into employee, department equals apology, astrology, you understand what it means. Or at least we understand what this means. I'll take the silence as a yes. So let me run this. And of course, to see it, we have to select all. So the select all, I think we're already familiar with it at this point. I'll be writing it over and over. So we have a department astrology, but we don't have the ID, we don't have the, what's it called? The employee name. So I want to show us how can we actually delete something. So to delete something, you also need to specify. That's specific, like the specificity of SQL is a very important, thing to take note of. So let's say let us delete, or let's use let's delete astrology. So how do we go about this? So somebody might be there thinking, saying this is stressful. Like if it's Excel, I can just easily do this. But unfortunately, this is not Excel. This is like how you do you're able to do all of this within like a database. When you're querying a database, this is us querying a database. We're not in Excel. So it's not going to just be the click and remove and whatever. So let us delete astrology. So it's also quite what's the word? It's also quite if you see the query right, it's not really that crazy. So to delete something, of course, you use delete. But how this works now is like it's not just delete from. Yeah, delete from, delete from, delete from, delete from, delete from where? Delete from employees or delete from what table? Let's not say where. So delete from employees, yes. But what are we deleting from employees, right? Remember, we want to delete where the department is equals to astrology, right? We want to delete where the department is equal to astrology. We want to delete where the department is equal to astrology. So we'll also continue that here. Delete from employees where what? Department.
Is equal to astrology.
Yes, equal to astrology. Let's run this and see. Query run successfully. So let's see if it's actually been run successfully. Let's confirm. So select all from employee, let us run. Oh, now we do not have any department called astrology, which has ID and employees knows. Why? Because we have deleted it from our employee table. We have deleted it from our employee table. We have deleted it from our employee table. So that's how it's going to be. You delete, the delete works like this. Delete from, you mention your table. So I can even write it if I feel like I can write the syntax. So it's just the same, it's basically the same thing, but it's just me writing something funny. Or not funny, sure. So I can just copy this if you want. So delete from. So I'm writing it as a comment, so it's not going to run. Delete from table. Table where condition. After the where you set your condition. delete from table where condition, delete from table where condition. So this is basically how you use delete from. So always be careful anytime you are trying to do things like delete, like the drop. Remember the drop database. Always be careful because unfortunately, especially for the drop, for both of them though, unfortunately, like what has been deleted has been deleted. What has been dropped has been dropped. What has been deleted has been deleted. What has been dropped has been dropped. So always, 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 always make sure. Always make sure. Always make sure to be certain that what you need to delete or what you need to drop actually needs to be gone. Actually needs to be gone. Actually needs to be gone. So before we actually continue, I'm saying a lot of actually, funny enough. So before we continue, yeah, we are going to have a very brief look back of what we did, of what I've done so far. A very brief look back of what I've done so far. So I remember there was a question, and by that look back, just me saying I want to address the question before we go ahead. I remember there was a question that was addressed. And the question that was addressed was, what if we have what's the word? Or we have something with 1,000 rules, right? And does it mean we always have to insert it manually? Does it mean no? It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that. But my answer to that was that you always need to create your table structure in that situation. Let's say you have a table, an Excel file, an Excel workbook, yes, specifically an Excel workbook. And they say, okay, bring this into SQL, bring this into SQL, bring this into SQL. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? So we are going to still use what we have been using, which is this smallish table in Excel, but we're going to perform the exercise together. We're going to perform the exercise together. We're going to perform the exercise together. So because I do not want us to delete, so I don't want us, because I already created an employee table and things like that. I don't want us to delete the employee table to do what we want to do to bring in employee, because it's still the same little employee data set we're bringing in. We can always scale all these things. I don't want us to delete this employee. So we'll just create a new table called employee new to do this. So this short exercise that you can easily do by yourself or with me or what all of the above, right? Oops. We're going to do this exercise together, short exercise together. Pressing Ctrl C, I'm mistakenly pressing tab. So this create statement, this create table statement, we're going to use it again, right? We're going to use it again, but we're going to use it for create table, create employee new. We're going to create a table called employee new. So this is just a pause. So all this querying stuff that we'll be doing, employee new, it's still query sharp, but just a pause from this kind of interface or this kind of queries. So employee new. So of course, I'm going to change it to employee underscore new. So we are aware that I think we are aware about this, that if I decide to take a look about my database, I go all the way to my schemas. So I'm in Postgres database, right? So if I go all the way to my schemas, if I scale all the way down and look for my tables, not foreign tables or anything, those are not what you need. Look for your tables. I have some things in my tables which you guys don't have in yours, of course. But if I look at my table, I will see employee. This employee. To confirm, if I go to the columns, you see ID, employee name, and department. So just to confirm. So what we're doing right now is bringing basically a table called employee new. So it's basically the same type of table with employee, but because we call it employee new, of course, it's going to save as another table, right? It's going to save as another table. So the reason why we're doing this exercise, because I really want to show us how it works in terms of if we're bringing in what's it called, an actual Excel file, how it works. So let us run this. So this is, I think this is quite easy for us. Let us run this employee new. And of course, that's been run. If I refresh this and look for employee, see employee new has appeared there. So you can always confirm by saying select all. If I'm too fast, please, you can stop me. You can call the cops. Let's say select all from employee new. Let's answer the question of how. Yes, employee new is now empty. Employee new is now empty. So what are we going to do? Well, of course, we have already defined the data types and everything, ID, employee name, departments. So we are actually going to bring this into, what's it called? PGadmin. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to fill this. So you are free to go ahead and do yours. So make sure because we already defined it. Remember, we have defined the, what's it called? We have defined the create table, ID, employee name, excuse me, and departments. Now, in the table that you actually want to bring from Excel, it has to be the same structure as when you defined it in SQL. So you can see ID, employee name, departments. It has to be the same structure. It has to be the same thing, basically. ID, employee name, departments. So I'm just going to complete mine. I'm just going to put random things here. So you can make yours 3 rows, 4 rows, or as much as you want. So I'll just say Fiona, what department will I give Fiona? Kitchen. Home economics. Yeah, home econs. Home economics. I'm going to give Shrek. I don't need Shrek. I don't need Peter. They're just a waste of time. At least for me. So I'm going to clear contents. So what happened was that I've already saved this Excel file as something. I want to show something. I already saved the Excel file before. So I'm just going to copy this and open it in a brand new Excel file and paste. A blank new workbook. A blank workbook. And paste. I don't know if I'm being too fast or everybody's with me. So I'm just creating a new Excel workbook and basically putting the details I want to bring into PGadmin. That is what I just did. That's what I just did. That's what I just did. So now I'm just going to save my Excel file. I'm going to save my Excel file. But before I save it, let's mention one thing. We don't normally bring the normal like Excel files, Excel workbooks into PGadmin. We don't bring the normal Excel workbooks into PGadmin. But what do we do instead? We bring in the Excel, we bring in a CSV file. A CSV file is usually known as a text file in many situations. We bring in a text file into PGadmin. What am I even saying? What does this even mean? It sounds confusing. I'm sure it does. So, like, what do I mean? So, do you know that the Excel.xlxx format? So I think it's XLSX, if I'm saying it correctly. That's an Excel workbook format. It's a format that's specific to Microsoft Excel. Remember, I just said it's a format specific to Microsoft Excel. So that's basically a proprietary format. Like it's Microsoft that owns that .xlxx format. It's a proprietary data formatting type, so to say. So Postgres works easy with CSV files, comma separated values. Or yes, CSV comma separated values. It works specifically with comma separated values. And to be more specific, also, I know this is a lot of information, but you will see me when I try to save this file. To be more specific, also, we need to save whatever Excel. Let's say this is an Excel normal workbook and we have data inside, right? We need to save that Excel workbook as a CSV specifically, and also specifically encode it in a UTF-8 with a UTF-8 encoding. What am I saying in essence? So 2 things to take note: CSV files plus UTF-8. 2 things to take note: CSV files and UTF-8. So if I had saved, for example, if I saved this as a normal Excel workbook, so excel.xlxx file, and I do the correct steps, which like I just show you the steps and I say, okay, let's bring into Postgres, let's bring into PGadmin, you will be receiving errors. So let me show you that. Let me show you that so that you'll be aware. So I'm going to save this. Yeah. Okay, I don't want to save it like this. I don't like saving my files like this. I'm used to file, save as, browse. I just choose what I want to save. I'm going to save it to my desktop. I'm going to save it to Push'em. And let's just call it, what do we call it? Employee something. Employee new. So it doesn't have to be the same name, what I save it as. So you can see, as I'm trying to save it, you can see what I just said, Excel workbook. But we are meant to save it as this, CSV UTF-8, so comma delimited, UTF-8. This is the best encoding for Postgres. If you save it as this encoding, it's the CSV UTF-8, it will have no problem. So a CSV is not just a text file. Another thing you need to know about CSV files is that CSV files, before I save, CSV files cannot have multiple sheets. So like we are just like removing unnecessary kind of formatting basically. Because like if we bring it this, we can't bring in basically an Excel workbook because it's not just it's proprietary this thing, but like there are ways to bring in Excel workbook, mind you, there are ways, but those are like you have to go to the PSQL shell and start typing some kind of things, and it can be a bit complex. You have to start using some extensions, some Postgres extensions, which are not the normal conventions. But what I'm trying to say at this point.
Sorry for cutting you.
Go ahead, go ahead.
It's just like it's kind of
Confusing.
plenty of information at the same time.
Okay, so let me just.
Okay.
No problem. Go ahead.
If I'm not mistaken, sir, what you're saying in essence is absolutely is that for us to import a file to the Postgres platform, the PG admin, whatever, that we have to save it as CSV U20 something, this thing.
UTF-8 encoding, yes.
Yes, UTF.
So always save it.
Not just as even if they give us not just as normal Excel, just like that. We have to do that.
Workbook. Yes.
We just
and
have
where
to,
you see it is when you are saving it.
okay. From it's a save as type. We go to CSV.
UTF-8, CSV UTF-8. That's the one you always choose. So there are
Command
several CSV. There are several CSV. Yes, there are several CSV Macintosh. So yeah, that's several. This is basically different encodings. But the one that works best with Postgres that will not give you troubles is CSV UTF-8. So I'll just call this employee or new employees. It doesn't really matter. New employees. So now let me bring this into Postgres, for example. So I already defined a database. I mean, if I say database, I already defined a table. I've created a table and I've defined the structure. Now I'm basically going to bring this file, which has the same names as my table. What do I call it? New employees, right? We're going to bring it in to pgadmin or Postgres, right? So this is how I do it. I have it somewhere saved on my system, basically. Now I have to go all the way to my tables. Yeah, I have to go to a table I'm interested in, which is employee new, because it's empty. And I will go to import data. Import data. The data I want to import, mind you, is that table. Import data. So I click on my import data, right? CSV UTF-8, you can see it's already showing. So let's go to the file, like where the file is on my system, basically. So that's what the file name is for. So I called it new employees, right? So open and press OK. So you can see process started green, process completed green. Unfortunately, if that had been an Excel workbook, it will start the process and this process completed will be red. So let's actually confirm now if that CSV file has actually been imported into our table, which is called employee new. Let's confirm. To confirm, of course, select all from employee new. And you can see now, there we have it, or there you have it, right? We have been able to bring in data. So imagine this data had several rows and several columns. So if this data has several rows, of course, in the create table statements, you give you create table, you call the name of the table you want to create, right? You specify the column name, you specify the column data type, you put all you do it, you keep on pressing comma, put the next column, put the data type, keep on pressing comma, put the next column, put the data type. You basically create a table first. You make sure the encoding of the file and the CSV, whether it's a CSV and UTF-8, like just make sure that one is for setting, right? Then you have no problems after you created a table to bring in that Excel file into your table. There will be no issues, there will be no wahala, there will be no stress. So this thing I just showed you, I've seen people have errors with it. A lot of errors. But I was wondering, I'm wondering what's happened. Like, I created my table, I checked the data types, I made sure the headings are the same thing. Like, I'm trying to do it. I went to the table, the database, I said import data. It's not working. You say process start. That is very painful. I'm not gonna lie to you. Yeah, you probably won't see me having errors, hopefully, in terms of that. But when you are trying to bring in something or try to do something and you just start the process, you see green, that green stuff that showed, and you see like it's the first one showing, it's just that the process has started. When you see you have to wait till you see the next one. If it's green, that's when your mind will calm down. If it's red, just know that what you did was wrong somewhere, and you have to find a way and find a way and find a way. It can be frustrating when you don't know the way forward. So just take note, take note, take note. Create a table, make sure it's in CSV format, UTF-8 specifically. And PG admin will love you for that. PG admin will really love you for that. Give you low stress, no wahala. No stress, no wahala. So are we getting any questions? Anything?
At what? Yeah, I have a
Feel free.
question, Sam.
Go ahead.
When you are
Go ahead.
saving is when you are supposed to use the CSV 18 something, right? When you are moving from SQL to Excel.
Yes. I don't get.
At what point would you? I'm asking. I'm sorry, internet.
You're saying at what point put something?
Can you hear me, please?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
At what point do we require to import this data?
You said at what point does it require to import this data?
I think I have a problem with my internet. Let me just type. To
It
Excel.
happens.
I thought you always thought SQL has no storage of its own.
Please
Yes.
type. Please type. Can you type it? Okay, say it. I'm hearing you. Like the thing is just as you are talking. I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you. I can hear you. I can hear you. I don't know if you can hear me. Oh, can anybody hear me? Just to confirm whether it might be my own network. Who knows?
Yeah, I can hear you actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
My internet is the one that has gone.
Okay, just try to type it. Try to type it. Try to type it. Try to type it. Let's see. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes. Let me see. Let me get a better idea of the question you're asking. So while that's going on, let me save my work. Okay, let me check the charts. At what point do we require to import data to Excel? I thought SQL is a standalone. So it's SQL. SQL is not a standalone. If you thought that before, I'm sorry. You need to update your perspective. It's not standalone. Like SQL, basically, remember, structured query language is a language we used to import or talk to a database. right? It's not like it's not, you can't say it's standalone because you are communicating with something. So far so good right now. Yeah, we are communicating with a virtual database on our local host on our systems. I don't know if you have heard of local host before, not the company, but like in terms of when you're working on your system, maybe if you have ever installed Python or something, like you see, if you open Jupyter Notebook, you see something like local host, it's on your system. Yeah, so SQL it's never standalone. It's never standalone because it's always talking to something, which is database. It's always telling something, giving the set of instruction, whether that instruction is to like define something, define a database or define a table, to define a table structure. That's when you're creating the table, to insert something inside, to select something from somewhere. It's always talking, it's always doing something. So the point we have to import data in Excel, yes, it goes back to the question that was thrown at me. What if we had, because like you have data in Excel now. Let's say you work at a company, you have a lot of data, and now you want to like host carry this data from Excel to a database. Yeah, how do you do that with SQL? With SQL, like you would not manually use SQL to type into a database. Since you already have the data, define a table structure, bring in this data that you have already defined, that's like already staying somewhere, bring it into the database. So that's what point we need to import. Okay, do you say import data to Excel? Import data to Excel. Okay. I think I was answering that question in the import data to database with SQL. So import data to Excel is that's basically us like downloading data from a database. It's very straightforward. So if you go all the way to here, save results to file. So this Excel file we have brought in, we can always download it. You say save results to file. You choose what you want to save it as. Maybe I save it into my download and I just call it whatever it's called, right? So not necessarily Excel, save as a CSV file. So if I look at my downloads, I should be able to see it somewhere, but my different things on my system. So I probably shouldn't have saved in my downloads, but yes, you can save it to whatever aspect or area you want to. You can always like download data from a database too. I don't know if that answered the question or was somehow. Are you with me? Are you against me? Or what's the word? Are we together?
Yeah. I'm getting.
No problem. No problem. No problem. No problem. So far, so good. We have been able to cover a lot of concepts. If there's any question, you can quickly ask now because we're about to round up the class for today, at least. But
Sir,
go ahead.
I did what you're actually telling me, what you pointed that we should do, but I'm still getting an error when I try to import the.
What's did you okay? You saved it as a CSV ETF it.
Yes.
How did you name your column? So let me stop sharing my screen. Like this is our create table statement, right? Remember I told you whatever you write in your create table, like also it's not just whatever you write, the data type too in your this thing I want to import must fit in. So if I say integer, and let's say there's something that's not an integer in this Excel file, let's say instead of it being this CSV whatever, yeah, instead of this ID being 1 is 1 point something, I'd already defined it as integer. So if I want to bring it something that's not an integer into the ID column, it's going to give me an error. But let me stop sharing my screen. Let me see. Let me just try to diagnose if I could diagnose what's going on in the end.
Okay, sir. Okay. So let me start afresh.
Wait. Click on the encoding. Click on the encoding. Okay, start afresh. Anyhow.
So this is me trying to import data now.
Okay. Okay, wait. Okay. is ready. Okay, choose. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Previously, I've saved this as what's it called? CSV, comma separated value.
UTF-8 was also there. That
Yes,
UTF
yes,
something was also there, right?
yes.
Okay,
That's how I save it.
press
Yes,
on
sir.
it. Click. No problem. Click open.
Okay. So this is
Before you
CS.
press OK, go to encoding.
Okay.
Choose UTF-8. You should see a drop down. Always just choose UTF-8 because so even if you don't choose most time, it will do it automatically. Go all the way down. So most of these encoding are not for the normal files, not for normal files. UTF-8. Okay. So let's see what's going on. Employee ID int, employee name text, department text. Let's see. Can you open what's it called?
The Excel, whatever. Is it
Yes, the Excel this thing. The Excel this thing you are trying to import.
yes, this is it. Let me do the save as again.
Okay.
Look at it. I'll save it as CSV UTF-8, comma delimited.
Okay.
Save. Yes. So let me go back to PG admin.
Okay.
This is my employee new.
Okay.
Import CSV UTF-8. This is the file here.
Yes, yes.
Okay, ba?
Yes, okay.
I don't know. I don't know. I
Click on
just
that
said
view process. For that process field, click on view process. No, the process field. Yes. So click on that first one that's in there. That's this thing that looks like a file something like on that first row, not in field in before that PID. Before that
here.
PID, click on it. Let's see what's going on.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, click on it. Yes, view details. Let's see if it tells us anything.
I should do what?
Click on it. Click on it. You can actually click that thing. So
I should click within, sorry.
yes, invalid syntax. I'm saying the error invalid input syntax for type integer ID copy colon like ID. So I would say is just you probably have to just write in that Excel file that ID this thing right integer. Just rewrite them again on your Excel this thing because I'm saying invalid syntax for type integer ID. It means in that first line, you see employee new line 1 column ID. So in that first line, there's something probably going on in that Excel
Part,
file.
yeah.
Yes, in that Excel file, there's something going on in that first line ID. Click on that ID in that one. Is there
The
anything
ID
going on
is
there?
normal ID now. Then
No, one. Go to one.
one.
I can't really say anything about this, but I think it's telling us that something is going on there in one. Was in ID? Click on ID, let me see. Because the error is telling us is line one. There's something going on in line one. There is something going on in line one, and is that integer? So in this data, like in this Excel file, are you sure there's no other thing if you go all the way down? Line one, new employee new line one column ID. So
As per
there's
any other
something
thing
going
on
on
this
there.
table. Any other thing on this table?
Yes, then another thing. Yes, then another thing somewhere. There is the error is sure that
So there's
ID
nothing
column.
else on the
Something is
table. There's nothing else on the table.
there's something going on there. So what I would say is maybe try to just create this on a new Excel this thing, just create a new one, a different one, then try the process again. Like copy all these things, bring it onto a new something and try the process again. It should be different. It should be different. But I think ID line 1, something is going on there. That's the ID of this thing. That's because we saw the error or something. So something is going on around there. So maybe try it again on another Excel workbook, then convert it again. So, but that will be just in your own time. That will be your own time. I think our time is quite fast spent. So I would stop recording this call, and I would wish us a good day, a good night, wherever you are. So I really appreciate. Thank you very much. So we'll continue in our next class, and hopefully we get to understand better and we get to be SQL rock stars. So thank you very, 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 very much. We appreciate you at Push'em. So see you guys next class. Stay safe, do your best and everything. So take care.
Okay, sir. You're welcome. See you on Monday.